The EU Parliament has passed the first global AI law. Brussels wants to use it to regulate future technology. And in London, this is seen as an opportunity. Prime Minister Rishi Sunak now wants to use a clever positioning to ensure that companies settle on the island instead of in continental Europe. British Prime Minister Rishi Sunak had internalized the American penchant for pathos after his previously completed trip to the USA, when he spoke at the largest British tech conference in London in mid-June. Great Britain wants to become not only the intellectual, but also the geographical homeland for security and artificial intelligence. That's what he announced solemnly in his speech. The Prime Minister thus initiated a U-turn in British AI policy. Until now, Britain has been known for its soft stance on security issues in favor of economic growth. The turning point followed the new tone in the global debate. In particular, the hype surrounding the chatbot ChatGPT has raised awareness of the revolutionary potential of artificial intelligence and the associated dangers in recent months. ChatGPT uses AI to generate text and communicates with users in a human-like manner. It's constantly learning, and leading scientists and bosses of the largest tech companies publicly drew attention to the existential risks of uncontrolled AI. For example, in an open letter under the auspices of the Center for AI Safety, that's a research institute for safety of artificial intelligence in San Francisco. In the face of this development and the growing criticism that the UK could be left behind in the race for AI without investment in government action, Sunak made a new strategic decision. Anyone who wants to become a leader in this technology must also become a pioneer in AI security. That's what the Prime Minister said in London at the time. The UK has some catching up to do, especially compared to its European neighbours. Containing the potential risks of AI has been discussed within the European Union for years. And in June, the EU Parliament voted on the first global AI law. With this set of rules, the EU is hoping for a Brussels effect, similar to the General Data Protection Regulation that has been in force since 2018, which has been taken as a model for its own set of rules worldwide. Brussels dares a balancing act with the law. The goal is also a pioneering role in AI security, while at the same time innovative companies should not be deterred by overly strict rules. The fact that this danger exists was last shown in May, shortly before the law was voted on. Sam Altman, founder of the American company OpenAI, which developed ChatGPT, had indicated that he would withdraw from the European market if the law were to be too strict. But he later wrote back there. And here, AI scientists see an opportunity for Great Britain. The island positions itself ideologically between the US with its free market approach and continental Europe, which is pursuing a more interventionist approach. That's at least the opinion of a researcher of the American think tank Brookings Institution and a signatory for the Center of AI Safety's open letter. And this would put the UK in exactly the right place strategically. What Great Britain's strategy could look like in concrete terms is only provided by a government white paper published in March, which critics have now described as outdated due to the rapid development of AI. London wants to avoid overly strict legislation that could hinder innovation and instead take an adaptive approach to regulating AI. Instead of creating a single regulator, the government wants to coordinate existing bodies for this purpose. This is intended to develop an approach that is geared towards the specific use of AI in various industries. Great Britain is thus focusing more on AI security issues, but the EU is going much further. Their law is intended to create a framework for classifying AI technologies into different categories according to their risk. Applications that pose a threat to human security, such as extensive control of everyday behavior, are to be banned. EU parliamentarians have agreed not to classify ChatGPT and similar programs as risky in principle. Nevertheless, providers will have to meet transparency requirements in the future. This includes disclosing the data sources used to develop their models. Implementation could be difficult, especially for small companies, those. The US digital companies can cope with any regulation. That is what people are certain of. But they have about 200 people from international commercial law firms who help them. But a startup cannot afford something like this. And this is where the UK could have an advantage, especially as it's no longer part of the EU. It could happen that after the AI Act comes into force, companies will first settle in Great Britain because the regulatory hurdles are lower there. I'm not absolutely of that opinion, but the Center for the Governance of AI in Oxford says that, but it's in Oxford. The most important work at the moment is the development of the most advanced systems, such as ChatGPT, GPT-4, and Palm 2. And they believe Great Britain is more successful there than all other EU countries combined. So they think they could take the lead. But at least in this area, Sunak could have a chance to realize his ambitions, and he still has time. The AI law of the European competitor is expected to come into force in 26, and a lot can happen in the world of AI before 3 years are over. And so they do have a chance. But I have to say it again. Looking at the past few years about using their chances, well, I'll judge it when I see it. And if you're interested in more about UK politics or Brexit, the next video is here in the end screen. I'll see you there. I'll be back.